Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences session of the 139th Spring Convocation of the University of Manitoba. My name is Mel Braun. I'm a professor of voice at the Des Hôtels Faculty of Music, and I will be the Master of Ceremonies this morning. We do welcome you taking pictures during the ceremony, but ask that you remain in your seats when doing so, just so that there's no blocking going on. You're also reminded to turn your cell phones to silent at this time. Following the ceremony, you're invited to a reception, and that will be in the J.A. Hilda's Court and Joe Dupe Concourse in Level 2 of the Basic Medical Sciences building. So please plan to meet your graduate in the reception area. I would like to welcome our guests seated here in front of me, who are special guests of the president of our university, and also extend a welcome to the department heads and faculty members of the Max Rady College of Medicine and the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences. They've joined us today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what you've been waiting for, please rise for the entrance of the academic procession and our graduating students. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that the University of Manitoba campuses are located on original lands of Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We respect the treaties that were made on these territories. We acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and we dedicate ourselves to move forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Now, graduands, if you could please rise and join Nicole Dubois, accompanied by Stephanie Rosbacher, both of the 2018 Max Rady College of Medicine graduating class. They're going to sing O Canada. Then I'd ask that you please remain standing for the traditional honor song, which will be given to us by Carl Stone.
Mr. Chancellor, Dean Postal, graduands, family, friends, welcome and good morning. We have a number of distinguished guests with us today. I'd like to welcome today's recipient of our highest honor, the honorary doctorate degree, Dr. Martin Yaffe, and to acknowledge our Chancellor, Mr. Harvey Sector, and also to welcome to our platform today Ms. Beth Beaupre, Assistant Deputy Minister, Department of Health and Workforce, Dr. Anna Ziomek, Registrar of the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Manitoba, Dr. Arnold Neymark, President and Dean Emeritus, Dr. John Wade, Dean Emeritus, Ms. Nancy Militano, Vice President of the Alumni Association, and Mr. Jeff Lieberman, Chair of the Board of Governors. Also on the platform today are members of the senior administration of the university, deans, associate and assistant deans who played such an important role in the achievements that will be celebrated here today. Thank you all for being here. And as President of the University of Manitoba, I formally declare this convocation to be in session. I want to thank Carl Stone for the honor song. And graduands, I would encourage you to enjoy this special day, which arrives as the culmination of a unique and personal journey for every one of you. Your journey is a part of your story, but it's also a part of our story as a university. As you will have discovered during your studies, the need to be accountable to the public, to explain actions and decisions, to tell our stories is increasing every day. In order to generate support, to ensure appropriate levels of funding, to foster understanding of the contributions we make and the benefits we bring, as individuals and as professionals in our chosen fields, we must be able to explain to the public who we are and what we do. At the University of Manitoba, as a research-intensive university, we have recently begun to frame our story within the theme of innovation. Our people, you graduands among them, discover innovative solutions to pressing problems changing our world. Our innovators are envisioning quieter, more patient-friendly MRIs. They're utilizing artificial intelligence to diagnose mental illness, and they're developing new antimicrobial strategies by closely examining the role of efflux pump mechanisms. Here at the University of Manitoba, we can be confident in saying we shape innovators. All of you graduating today have embraced innovation in many ways, I'm sure, and we'll hear of that innovation over the course of this session. You've also participated directly in an innovative initiative which has brought together in one academic unit, the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences, all the health sciences disciplines. You've been learning in an environment that fosters collaboration among those who will one day work together in our hospitals and clinics and in all areas of healthcare. We're proud of your innovative collaboration, and we hope to encourage even more of that in the future. The University of Manitoba shapes innovators, and now you will shape the world. So I wish you well as you leave us. Now, I would like to say just a word or two to all of you members of the audience. You've come with friends or with family members, and you know that we don't always dress like this here. In fact, you've seen people going to university dressed in very different ways. But we do today because it reminds us of a tradition that we're standing in as we're here. A tradition of teaching, learning, people achieving results and going out to make their own mark in society, which has been going on for hundreds, literally thousands of years, really, in academies in various parts of the world. We have a little bit of a challenge today because this form of dress that you see on the students and on those of us on the platform can create a little bit of distance. It's different, feels a little bit standoffish. We want to remember the tradition, but we also want to be very focused on the fact that you're here as friends and as family, and you want to be engaged with the process that's going on. So you'll see there are a number of aspects of the program today. One of the most important is when each graduating person is recognized by name and comes forward. Now you'll notice that that process doesn't last, that moment doesn't last very long when the one person is the focus of attention. So I would just encourage you as family and friends, when that moment comes for the person that you've accompanied, if you have something you want to express, that's your time. Thank you for being here.
Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, guests, families, graduands. My name is Brian Postal. I'm the Dean of the Rady Faculty of Health Sciences and the Max Rady College of Medicine. I'm amazed at your restraint when True North came up in the anthem. And I have to say, it's a big week in this province. First, you're graduating, and second, Patrick Laine is shaving that ridiculous beard. There's 107 of you graduating, 43 are women, and we do generally now achieve gender equity in our admission to our medical school class. We've created a whole set of policies and efforts that really ensures that our medical class truly reflects the communities that we serve, and you can see that today. We still have a long way to go regarding faculty and staff. We have fewer women as full professors, fewer women as department heads and other senior positions, and we must continue to ask the question, what's up with that? Now, 4 years has gone by in a blink. The first year you were sitting here, I told you you were all likely, if not able to express it, were feeling some degree of what we would call imposter syndrome. You were sure we would find out what you actually didn't know, and that it wouldn't serve you well. You went through first year absorbing a huge amount of volume, a bit unclear whether it was really meaningful to your future careers. You arrived in second year in a more relaxed state, and interestingly became the source of all wisdom to Med 1. So when our associate deans would address that class, it was pretty typical for those students to arrive at your lockers to say, "Is it true that?" And of course, they waited for that wisdom. It was an important year for integration. It began to make sense. The material you learned in first year started tying to the material you learned in second year, and your clinical reasoning processes began to take shape and I think, gave you enormous satisfaction. The third year introduced a new set of terrors as you arrived on the wards, took call, had to participate as team members in rounds, where your first thought and sometimes your first statement as you presented a case began with something like, "I don't know anything, but," and you'd continue, of course, with a much more complete description and differential than you would have imagined. At this point, you also needed to learn to reverse direction in the thought process. First 2 years, of course, we teach you the basic mechanisms of the human function, and suddenly in third year, we're presenting you with clinical cases and making you work backwards from those clinical cases through those functions and into differential diagnoses. Fourth year, of course, this year was full of issues around electives, the dreaded match, and of course exams. So I'm pleased to say that you've been living with enormous stress hormones for only 3 of the last 4 years, and they will eventually come down. I also told you 4 years ago that your parents and loved ones would be very interested in what and how you learned on this trajectory. I encourage you to be patient and to engage. I suspect that some of you did that for your entire 4 years. More of you did that selectively. Some did that perhaps for the first year, and some of you just did not do it. Can I ask the parents, did they share with you what they were learning? There's a few nods. Now, the hidden curriculum really defines informal processes where we behave in manners, in ways that are inconsistent with our teachings. Usually we see the informal or the hidden curriculum as negative, but I've also always thought that the hidden curriculum where you interact in this way with your parents and families is a positive part of a hidden curriculum. It teaches you to synthesize, understand, and explain your body of knowledge in ways that can be understandable to others who don't have that knowledge. If you can communicate with patients the way you might have communicated with your loved ones, you'll be far ahead. Keep it up. Now, we need to be socially accountable. We're one of a very few professions where individuals come to us with pain, fear, and make themselves totally available to our care. Our education, and indeed our income, is enormously publicly supported, and we daily see and experience the connection between illness and inequality. We have a moral and ethical responsibility to fix that which we can. In essence, those with the most needs should get the most care, and we must often prioritize those needs. In our province, the real inequality in health, of course, is with our Indigenous neighbors, which remains unbearable. We must pay attention. We must study the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, where they describe the cultural genocide and racism that have been part of our country for a long time. We must move this agenda forward, or we can really never move the dial on improving health status in our province. You'll learn that we also live in a political world. Health consumes in every province of this country somewhere between 40% and 50% of provincial expenditures. Elections, frankly, are now fought on combinations of 4 issues: jobs, the economy, healthcare, and more recently, immigration. Healthcare is never far off the front burner of that debate. In that environment, priorities change, systems change. Indeed, how else can they be made better? But we must adapt to change, sometimes to restraint, and do so within the context of social accountability and your advocacy for patients. You'll now also enter a phase of career where you will see more and more of what you will be doing in the future. Your pattern recognition will improve as you see more cases. You'll discover that no 2 cases are particularly alike, and you will continue to develop more sophisticated and complex pattern recognition systems that will serve you well in your profession. We generally call this experience, and as time goes by, even wisdom. You'll soon have seen cases in the tens, the hundreds, the thousands of presentations, and you'll sometimes do that on days where you feel stressed, tired, seeming that life can be unfair, and despite all of that, you must continue to function with empathy, perhaps the most important asset of being a physician. Remember that regardless of the N of your experience, the hundreds or thousands, the experience of your patients is an N of 1. Now, being a professional means your patient comes first. You will treat patients and colleagues with respect. You'll enjoy professional autonomy and the responsibility that comes with that, and you'll be part of a larger community. In exchange, you'll be endowed with remarkable privileges of stature, income, autonomy, and remember, and I hope your families will help you remember, these are not entitlements, but must be continuously earned. Congratulations, you're now launched. As Harding Carter said, you have roots and wings, enjoy them both.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Cliff Yaffe, and I'm the Associate Dean of Postgraduate Medical Education in the Max Rady College of Medicine, and I am honored to be reading this citation today. The highest honor the Senate of a university can confer upon an individual is an honorary degree. At the University of Manitoba, the criteria includes distinguished achievement in scholarship, the arts, or public service. Our honorary graduate this morning is Dr. Martin Joel Yaffe, my brother. For many researchers, the joy is in the moment of discovery. For Martin, there is a much greater source. Joy is when you see how ideas come to life to make a real difference in the world, far beyond the lab. Dr. Yaffe is best known as a pioneer in digital mammography. It was a huge advance over the film mammography in use before the new millennium. Digital technology means more accurate detection of breast cancer. It also makes diagnostic information much easier to enhance and share. Digital mammograms now help patients and their doctors make more informed decisions when it matters most. Dr. Yaffe was one of the first scientists to see the full potential of this technology for breast cancer screening. He did much more than develop this innovation in the lab. He made sure his findings became meaningful advances for care. The transformation of a brilliant idea into everyday clinical practice in its great passion is often the greatest challenge. It means carrying out large-scale trials to prove the potential benefits and capturing the imagination of industry leaders who are key in bringing great ideas to commercial fruition. Because Dr. Yaffe was willing to go the extra mile, working in collaboration with professionals from many different disciplines, digital mammography is widely used. It has revolutionized the way breast cancer is detected. The technology saves thousands of lives every year and is now a modern standard of care across the globe. When asked what motivates him to bring research into real life, he simply says, "Well, I'm a practical guy." That practical nature was instilled in him as a kid growing up in the north end of Winnipeg. He is the eldest of 3 sons and the grandson of immigrants from Russia and Belarus. Our family was of modest financial means, but rich in appreciation of learning. Our parents encouraged us to study hard and do good things with our lives, and each one of us tried to rise to the challenge. As a child, he had many interests, from engineering to electronics. He chose science as a career, encouraged by the success of our uncle, who was a nuclear chemist. One day, while studying here at the University of Manitoba, his class heard from a visiting researcher who spoke with great passion about the contributions physicists could make to medicine. So moved was young Martin that he decided to make medical physics the focus of his graduate studies. Years later, that same scientist heard Dr. Yaffe speak. Now it was his turn to be impressed. He offered him a position in his lab at the University of Toronto, where Dr. Yaffe earned his PhD. His mentor instilled in him the firm belief that a scientist must strive to make positive changes in the world. For the next 40 years, Dr. Yaffe would remain committed to moving his discoveries into usable resources. He continues to pioneer new tools for managing and understanding breast cancer. And he continues to find the joy born from contributing to the larger efforts to help save the lives of women and men facing this difficult diagnosis. Mr. Chancellor, it is an honor for me to ask, on behalf of the Senate of the University of Manitoba, that you confer on Dr. Martin Joel Yaffe the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of this university, I admit you to the degree, a Doctor of Science, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. Congratulations, Dr. Yaffe.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks, Cliff, for the beautiful remarks. Really do appreciate your comments. President Barnard, Chancellor Sector, Dean Postal, honored guests and graduates, I'm humbled and honored by being chosen to receive this recognition, and I thank the university. I wish that our parents, and especially our mother, could have been here to see this, because their values had a lot to do with Cliff and me being here today. I left the University of Manitoba in 1973, as Cliff mentioned, to join the lab of Dr. Harold Johns in Toronto, where I did my PhD. But for those of you who don't know, Dr. Johns was responsible for bringing cobalt radiation therapy and radiation therapy in general to Canada and making Canada a world leader in this area. Also, by the way, at that time, the name of the Prime Minister of Canada was Trudeau, and a major topic of conversation in the press was cannabis. Some things just don't seem to change. But today I won't be talking about Mr. Trudeau or about cannabis, but we'd like to share just a couple of thoughts. I know you're anxious to receive your degrees, about science and evidence in medicine. And Dean Postal has mentioned some of these ideas already. Although I've never considered a career as a physician myself, I've always had a great respect and awe for doctors, something that persists to this day. To have the skills to diagnose, to treat and cure the plethora of health problems that plague us is just amazing. And what a responsibility and what a privilege you have. Medicine is an art requiring technical acumen, but it's also firmly based on science. And the developments in science and the technology that have come from that science have simply been revolutionary. As part of my education in imaging research here at the University of Manitoba, I watched Dr. Neymark, I watched Dr. Ian Sutherland doing pioneering work in nuclear medicine, and Dr. Ted Lyons experimenting which was then the new technique of ultrasound. We had just heard about the invention of the CT scanner, and what incredible developments have occurred since then. They have revolutionized medicine. Just consider MRI, PET, computers in every aspect of medicine. Everything is digital today, and the computers at the time I was here ran on punch cards or long spools of paper tape and were truly primitive by today's standards. We have targeted drugs for precision therapy of cancer and other diseases, 3D printing of implants, modern laparoscopic and robotic surgery, artificial intelligence, and hopefully we still have some real intelligence. These innovations came from the work of scientists and clinician researchers in medicine and have been truly transformational. These are the tools that you will get to use in your work. They came from scientific research. My message to you as you begin your medical careers is that it's critically important that you stay engaged in science. The obvious way to do this, if you're so inclined and so talented, is to integrate research as part of your professional careers. Become a clinician scientist. Medical research is exciting, rewarding, and fun. The work connects you to colleagues around the world and builds the future of your profession. Subspecialties that don't innovate and evolve through research will eventually become extinct. But even if research is not for you, it's vital that you take a scientific approach to your work. And here's why. Today, in discussions with my colleagues who are physicians, and sometimes as a patient myself, I've observed a shift toward doctors, at least some doctors, seeing themselves more as technical people and being pushed into the role of financial gatekeeper, obediently following guidelines by funders and various advisory groups. Procedures are often ordered or not ordered on the basis of these guidelines. Now, guidelines can be very useful. Doctors are busy people and can't possibly know all the research literature. So this is evidence-based medicine, where scientific evaluation of efficacy and effectiveness of interventions should inform or regulate their use. This is a great idea. We need to test drugs and procedures to determine if they work or not. And in a world with limited resources, we need to consider their cost utility. How much does it cost to save a year of life or to reduce morbidity? In Canada, provincial and federal health systems have come to rely on advisory groups to evaluate the science and recommend evidence-based policy. This sounds like a great idea, but unfortunately, these days, with the financial pressures on governments, the message has come out often that less is more. Consider, for example, the Choose Wisely Canada effort, or the Canadian Task Force on Preventive Health Care. While they and groups like them are supposed to employ the analytical tools of science, more and more it seems that their mandate is less evidence-based policy and more of what I call policy-based evidence, looking only at the data that supports a particular position, for example, reducing costs. We have to beware of this false science. Unfortunately, I've seen a clear example of this in how the task force has handled the issue of mammography screening. The task force has completely ignored key Canadian data that's come right here from this country, and shaded their analysis to overemphasize harms and understate benefits. And many doctors have been led to believe that screening doesn't work. That's simply not true. Screening can be very effective. And the task force responded similarly regarding PSA and prostate cancer. This is a serious concern and doesn't serve the health interest of the public. Another example, in Ontario, where I work, the Ministry of Health withheld the drug Herceptin from women with 9mm HER2-positive breast tumors, whereas women with 10mm tumors, not much difference, were provided with this very effective drug. So there's no valid scientific reason for this kind of a decision. And I'm sure that there are many other examples. Often guidelines committees are populated by methodologists in epidemiology who understand the diseases on which they're opining far less well than you do. Therefore, it's essential that physicians understand the scientific basis of the reasoning behind these guidelines and are equipped to decide for themselves if guidelines make sense. You need to be able to question and, if necessary, challenge guidelines built around policy-based evidence and really develop evidence-based policy. So my message for you is very simple. If you are a physician who thinks scientifically and understands the science underlying your art and your practice, you will be a better doctor, a more empowered doctor, and I think a happier doctor with healthier patients. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best of success and fulfillment in your chosen work.
Good morning. Chancellor Sector, President Barnard, family and friends, and of course graduates of 2018. My name is Dr. Ira Ripstein, and I'm the Associate Dean for Undergraduate Medical Education. It's my honor to introduce 4 awards that are being presented this morning. The first award is the Fairgrave McBain Award, which will be presented by Dr. Gillian Horton to a member of the graduating class having demonstrated the most genuine compassion and profound interest in caring for those in need of medical assistance. And the award goes to Matthew Paschuk. The next award is the Catherine Clausen Memorial Award, which will be presented by Mrs. Linda Hamilton Clausen, which goes to a graduating student who is recognized by peers and instructors as having demonstrated a high level of compassion, humanism, and as having modeled a patient-centered approach to care. And the award goes to Christopher Chung. The next award is the Manitoba Medical College Foundation Jack Hildy's Award, which I will present on behalf of my wife. To a member of the graduating class who most exemplifies those qualities of humanity, personal discipline, keen curiosity, scientific inquiry, social responsibility, and good citizenship, which enhance a career in medicine and advance health in the community. And the award goes to Thomas Headley. Finally, the Manitoba Medical College Foundation Robin Krause Human Values Convocation Prize will be presented by Dr. Amanda Condon to a graduating student who best exhibits the traits inherent in the mission statement and goals of the Human Values Program. And the award goes to Sarah Mathias. In your program, you will see many other awards that have already been awarded or soon to be awarded. It's also my honor to preside over the passing of the sticks, and you will see that there actually are sticks. So the transfer of the senior stick is presented. The incoming president of the Manitoba Medical Students Association will be presented by Gurmeet Sohi to Mr. Christopher Briggs. Transfer of the honorary senior stick is presented to the incoming faculty advisor to the Manitoba Medical Students Association, and it's presented by Dr. William Libich to Dr. Marcia Anderson.
It's time for Chancellor Harvey Sector to address convocation.
Thank you, Mr. Braun. It's an honor to be here to join you, the graduates of the Max Rady College of Medicine, your family, and your friends in celebrating the completion of your current programs. Congratulations to all the students who received awards and prizes for their individual accomplishments, and to Dr. Yaffe on receiving a most well-deserved Honorary Doctor of Science. Franklin Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, once said that wise people have long known that in a changing world, even worthy institutions can only be conserved by adjusting them to the changing times. For well over a century, medical education in this province developed a reputation as one of Manitoba's most important and worthy institutions. And notwithstanding that, a few years ago, members of the leadership team of healthcare units at the University of Manitoba, heeding FDR's admonition, began developing plans to realize the goal of positioning the University of Manitoba as an international leader in integrated and collaborative healthcare, education, training, and research. As we heard from the President, innovation has become a key byword for our leadership team. That led to the creation of our new Faculty of Health Sciences and the College of Medicine. The opportunity to realize on those goals was enhanced last year with the largest gift ever received by the University of Manitoba and the renaming of the college and faculty. Another example of the faculty's growing capacity to meet our community's evolving needs was referred to by the Dean and was exemplified by the launch last year of the Indigenous Institute of Health and Healing, the largest Indigenous education and health unit in Canada. It's often said that in addition to your degree, one of the things that you take with you upon graduation is the reputation of your alma mater. You, like me, are fortunate beneficiaries of an institution, and in your case, a medical school, with an enviable reputation built on the contributions made of those who came before us. We're confident that many of you will do what you can to see that reputation enhanced even further by the contributions you will make to your profession and your chosen communities, wherever that happens to be. It's also been said that we can judge the significance of our actions by the impact they have on others. Dr. Yaffe, today's honorary degree recipient, is a prime example of how each of us in our own chosen field can do things that make significant differences in the lives of others. His career and accomplishments remind me of Nelson Mandela's advice that none of us should settle for a life that is less than the one we're capable of living. All of us at the University of Manitoba hope that as you reflect back on your time here at the university, you'll feel that while you were here, you moved just a little further along the path of becoming all that you were meant to be. Congratulations, best wishes for professional careers and personal lives that are filled not only with much success, but great satisfaction. Good luck to all of you.
Mr. Chancellor, I now have the honor to request, on behalf of the University Senate, that you confer upon the candidates the degrees earned by them, as these shall later be announced. Will those who are to receive degrees please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of this university, I admit you to the degrees to which you are entitled, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining. I also admit in absentia those who've completed the requirements for these degrees, but are not today able to be present.
Will those who are in the front row please remain standing? Others, please resume your seats. So, Mr. Chancellor, may I now present the candidate who you've admitted to the degree of Doctor of Medicine and Bachelor of Science in Medicine, with Dean Brian Postal of the Max Rady College of Medicine presenting the parchments. Pega Afshar. Christopher Allen Aiken. Graham Gordon Molyneux Alver. Joshua Peter Aquin. Kyla Jill Berry. Alexei Alexandrovich Burtnikov. Ryan Best. Mathieu Robert François Bourrier. Kristen Allison Butchko. Stephanie Deline Ophi Bonkowski. Tarun Chiba. Frederick Eng. The award winner for the Dr. William Webster Award, J. Alexander Gorman. The winner of the Dr. Charlotte W. Ross Memorial Award and the Community Health Sciences Population Health Engagement Award, Jack Richard Hurd. Ryan Nathan Henry. Catrice Elizabeth Kazmarek. Uliana Maria Kowalczak. Sandeep Krishnan. Martin Matuszczak. Julia Natalia Meba. Stephen Vern Nolan. Matthew Damian Paschuk. The winner of the Dr. John M. Embil Award for Excellence in Clinical Infectious Diseases, Quinn Richard. Adrian Rosbacher. Kevin Daniel Scheck. Neelan Sriranjan. Susan Elizabeth Talenko. And now, Mr. Chancellor, we'll move on to the candidates whom you've admitted to the degree of Doctor of Medicine. Kavithan Ganesan Abu. Trevor Paul Ackwin. Ingrid Ann Berriger. Jessica Lee Bednars. Matthew Buller. Ryan David Boyd. Nicole Emma Lois Brokop. Thomas Gary Butterworth. Daniel Carey. Bon Abigail Naz Castillo. Christopher Silong Chung. Stephen Cowton. Natalie Joan Doughty. Nicole Louise Dubois. Amanda Lee Eng. Aman Gera. Lydia Gindi. Evan Harrison Graham. Mackenzie Sarah Gregg. Janine Grenier. Joshua Rourke Habington. Kyle Hancock. Devin Sean Hassanali. Thomas Elliott Headley. Wayne Hicks. Timothy John Hebert. Evan Heldall. Ryan Stephen Houston. Tyler Brett Hunter. Osama Jarkas. The Dr. Tet Pinyong Award winner in undergraduate surgery, Garrett Gordon Raymond Joseph Johnson. Montana Lee Johnson. Cameron John Kay. Rachel Lauren Kesselman. Jason Kalimnik. Maria Kolova. Joel Richard Kosowan. Justin Alexander Kozak. Ananda Sarah Kwatsidzo. The winner of the Lukasz Czarnecki Memorial Award, Andrea Maria Kulik. Eric Lachance. Jessica Elizabeth Lezen. June Lee. Keely Lowen. Hanna Lubecka. The winner of the Dr. Harold Popham Scholarship, William Alexander McDougall. Travis Evan McGill. Caitlin Slater McGuire. Oksana Maruszczak. The recipient of the Community Health Sciences Population Health Engagement Award and the James Walker Wood MD Award, Sarah Nadine Matias. Sean James McPhee. Jacob Miller. Nicholas James Miller. Stephanie Kira Morrison. Darla Lynn Palmer. Christina Tiffany Papadimitropoulos. Stephen Michael James Peaver. Zachary Joel Raisman. Seon Ratna. William Pierce Ring. Stephanie Rosbacher. Elizabeth Mary Simonson. Samara Singer. David Gordon Snyder. Gurmeet Kaur Sohi. Peter Justin Stockman. Robin Luella Stonebridge. Chantal Tian. Alexa Ray Toop. Ryan Christian Vidal. Graham Walter. Adam Christopher Wereless. Gregory Joseph Donald Wills. Elliot James Wong. Jace Wong. Dorothy Yu.
Are you ready? Okay, I'll get us started. Now being admitted to the profession of medicine, I solemnly pledge to consecrate my life to the service of humanity. I'll give respect and gratitude to my deserving teachers. I'll practice medicine with conscience and dignity, the health and life of my patients, first consideration. I'll hold in confidence all that my patient confides in me. I will maintain the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. My colleagues will be my brothers and sisters. I will not permit consideration of race, religion, nationality, politics, or social standing to intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life, and even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. Thank you. And now the moment you've all been waiting for. You can sit. Could I call up Gurmeet for the valedictorian address? Thank you.
President Barnard, Chancellor Sector, deans, faculty and staff, friends and family, and my dearest classmates, thank you for taking the time to join us in celebration today. I am so very honored to speak on behalf of the class of 2018. I would like to firstly acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 territory and the homeland of the Métis Nation, with Manitoba being on the traditional lands of the Cree, Oji-Cree, Anishinaabe, Dakota, and Dene peoples. I encourage each of us here today to recognize the ongoing implications of colonialism and the role we play in medicine and beyond in reconciliation with our Indigenous peoples. The human body, it's been the subject of our fascination and its complexity the foundation of medicine for centuries. We breathe and feed, think and bleed as a result of the intricate relationships made up of an immeasurable number of cells. Cells that team up together to make a network of tissues, organs, and systems, working independently while simultaneously together. Our student body is not that much different. It was 4 years ago that we assembled in this atrium, undifferentiated and pluripotent. At that time, we might have had some idea of what we might transform into over the next 4 years. It has been an incredible journey to see how our environment has nurtured our natural skills and interests to develop the phenomenal group of individuals I see before me today. And what a journey it has been. We've passed about 1,000 exams, I counted. Just kidding. It's a rough estimate. Dr. Ripstein can correct me on that if I'm a little off. We spent days practicing for OSCEs, pretending to see the optic disc and mistaking normal breath sounds for murmurs. We made mistakes, but we learned from them, and the plasticity of our comfort zones was tested as our knowledge bases hypertrophied. We explored medicine not only across our beautiful Canadian landscape, but we transplanted ourselves across the world in foreign and challenging environments. When foreign substances come in contact with our human body, our white blood cells will mount a response. They either tackle this foreign substance immediately, or they prepare so that they're ready the next time they see the substance. Our student body has had its abundance of foreign and new experiences. Together, we have had so many firsts. We've caught our first babies, we've immunized our first kids, we've sutured our first wounds, we fainted in our first ORs, we chipped our first teeth during intubations. That might have been just me. We felt the sense of accomplishment in making our first correct diagnoses and the satisfaction of correctly treating our first patients. We came in every day, cortisol level relatively high, and experienced the dread and excitement, elation and fatigue as we pushed our brains and our hearts. Not all first exposures can be prepared for, however, and can sometimes overwhelm our bodies. We weren't immune from these experiences either. We had our first codes, our first bad diagnoses, our first unknowns, and our first losses. And though we've had these firsts, we must remember that we'll have patients who haven't. The anxious new mom who asks a million questions, that's her first baby. The frantic father in the emergency room, that's his child who's sick for the first time. The grieving family on the ward just lost their first grandparent. And when we see these, we'll need to remember that dread, the excitement, the elation, and the fatigue is no different from what we have and will continue to go through. And in these times, we remember our humanity. We learn that there are some things in this field we really shouldn't develop immunity to. We realize that to take care of our patients best, we need to take care of ourselves. In order for systems to function well, the cells, the tissues, the organs making up the body don't need to only function well, but they need to communicate and support one another. As medical students, residents, fellows, attendings, our resilience comes from the support we can provide to one another. We haven't gone through this alone. We've had our patients and their families, our residents, attendings, nurses, and our allied health. We've had our mentors, and we've had Dr. Horton. Most importantly, we've had our families, our parents, siblings, and partners by our side. Whenever I try thanking my dad, he says to me in Punjabi, "Maa baap da dhanvad nahi karida," which translates to, "You're not supposed to thank your parents." It demonstrates the selflessness and willingness of our families to support us unconditionally, expecting nothing in return. So today I think it's worth making an exception to that rule. Mom and Dad, thank you. The only thing that makes me prouder than this milestone, a decade in the making, is the fact that I get to call you, or I get to call myself, your daughter. To my masji, your work ethic and kind heart has always inspired me. To my siblings and their partners, my pressing desire to be like you has brought me here, this far in life. Our loved ones celebrate us today, but we wouldn't be here without their support. So to all the moms, all the dads, the brothers, the sisters, the siblings, the partners, and friends who put up with our absenteeism from family dinners and birthday parties, who listened to our venting and took us out for chocolate cake on a bad day, and most importantly, believed in us every step of the way, we thank you. Class of 2018, just moments before, our family and friends stood in ovation for us. I would ask that we stand and return the gratitude. So if you would just stand with me for a minute and thank all the people here who have brought us here today. to our student body here. For the last 4 years, we have learned to lean on each other, to grow together, and have developed a family of our own. Some of us have gone the extra mile, and to the wonder and awe of the rest of us, have even started their own families. Time and time again, when we have needed to come together, we have. Our traditions are strong. Whether it's performing interpretive dance to Taylor Swift's Shake It Off, wings nights, pierogies in church basements, cabin retreats, Oscar parties, or brunch baking parties, we have found in each other unparalleled friendships. And though our traditions will live on, we have had some lasts. Our last birthday sing-alongs in Theater C, our last NBMEs, that one I think we can all be happy about, our last Facebook group meltdowns, and tonight, our last soiree at the Fort Garry. Another last is using the, "Oh, I don't know, I'm just a medical student" line on the wards. Over the next few years, the responsibility for our patients, it's growing. The responsibility for our teams, it's growing. And the responsibility for ourselves, that growth will be exponential. Especially because this title that is bestowed on us today, doctor, isn't just a license to practice medicine. Yes, we won't need to get our orders co-signed anymore, but this title gives us a license, a place and space in society where people listen when we speak. And just as we will prescribe endless orders for Tylenol, we can prescribe to our governments, our universities, and our hospitals in the form of advocacy, the need for affordable housing, clean water in our northern communities, safe spaces for our marginalized and LGBTQI communities, and the need for reconciliation with our Indigenous peoples. We can all do our part in promoting gender equity, destigmatizing mental health, and improving representation in our profession and in our institutions. I don't expect us to solve all of these problems, but if what we have done in the last 4 years is any indication of what we're capable of, I have no doubt that this student body, the class of 2018, can and will make a difference. I am so excited to see what we all will do. Completing this medical school adventure with such an extraordinary group of intelligent, compassionate, funny, and marvelous group of individuals, my heart is full. Today it is pumping pride, love, admiration, and gratitude. May our comradeship stay as strong and resilient in the years to come as it is today. To all our families and friends from near and far, thank you. Class of 2018, doctors, thank you for your persistence, your spirit, and your unwavering commitment to service. Most of all, thank you for your overwhelming and incredible friendship. I could not be more proud and honored to be part of this group. Congratulations.
Good morning. Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, Dr. Yaffe, guests, and graduates, congratulations. As you set out on your path, a path of discovery and innovation, I hope each one of you finds inspiration from the University of Manitoba alumni who have come before you. If you aspire to be a researcher who challenges a system, a pioneer in new technology, or a doctor who sees new ways to build community, look no further than Métis clinician Dr. Cheryl Barnaby, who is resolving health system gaps for Indigenous patients, Dr. Ted Lyons, a trailblazer in ultrasound, and advocate Dr. Shane Reitmeyer, who recognizes the unique needs of LGBTQI patients and who was also the recipient of the 2018 Distinguished Alumni Award for Outstanding Young Alumni. Over the past 140 years, the University of Manitoba has built a strong and engaged community of alumni. We have more than 140,000 living in 137 countries. And this great community, which proudly supported you as students through mentorship and philanthropy, is proud to support you today as graduates. The Alumni Association can help connect you with alumni who will extend their hand to you as a mentor, advisor, coach, and friend. We welcome you to stay connected through the University of Manitoba's Outreach and Engagement Office. Return to campus often, attend homecoming, and participate in reunion events. We are a community that is here to support and celebrate your success. We recognize that the influence of this university is epitomized by the accomplishments of the alumni. And it is our privilege to stand behind you, your outstanding achievements, and the contributions to come. You are the innovators who will shape Manitoba and the world. Thank you and congratulations.
This brings our proceedings to a close. I would ask, as the academic procession leaves, that guests would remain in their seats until the procession is gone, and then please join us on the Joe Dope Concourse in the Hildy's Court for reception afterwards. And I now adjourn the 139th Annual Convocation until this afternoon at 3 p.m.